Okay, this is Brett Honig. I am submitting my screencast for the Google workshop that we worked in today at Wilson School District. What I'm going to walk through first is how to actually set preferences to open specific pages on startup of my Google browser. So what I do for that is I go to my three lines in the upper right hand corner of my Google browser, and I'll scroll down to my settings tab. And what this will allow me to do, this allows me to take a look at all the settings that I am working with, anything that is set to my account, etc. So obviously make sure that you are logged in under your synced account. You can change your advanced sync settings, etc., get wallpaper. But the one that I want to do, if I want to open up my computer and every time I open my browser on my Chromebook, I have a certain amount or a certain number of tabs or specific websites I want to open, I have to set that manually. So what I have to do is I have to scroll down to the startup, which is right in here, and what that allows me to do is I can set it to a new page. I could set a new tab every time it opens up. So every time I would open it up, this open page would be the first page that I see, and this would be the only page I would see. But that's not what I really want here. I actually have a set amount of sites that I want open all the time on my page, on my browser. So when I go down here, I want to open a specific set of pages. I just set the pages, and these are the sites that I open automatically on startup of my computer. These are the 5 most visited sites that I go to throughout the school year. So these are ones that I always want to open on my browser. Now I can close them just like I close any other tab, or I could open it up. If I open up a new tab, I can hit Control W to close it. That'll be fine. But all these tabs, I want them up immediately at the beginning of the day. That way that I can set them and make sure they're ready to go. Okay. From there, I'm going to walk through certain things that makes your life easier, just bookmarking specific sites. And what I have up here, I like to organize my bookmarks specifically. If they're a bookmark with a specific symbol or something that is not really related to school, something that I do use frequently. For example, Pandora is one where I play some classical music for the kids while they're working, and find that it's very beneficial for them to link music to math. Same thing with YouTube accounts, something that I could put up and publish for them to view. These I keep separate because they're just on their own plane for that matter. But if I have anything that is math related, for example, working with GeoGebraTube, when we upload videos and worksheets that we've created, CUDA software is a great resource that is math related. We get a lot of good ideas from it, as well as Dan Meyer. I follow Dan Meyer's work a lot. These all go under the same folder in which I created. So the way I can create those folders, you can do those several ways, and you can link everything underneath those folders. And what I show the kids when we work through bookmarking certain tabs, etc., we actually show them that the folders actually create it and make it a lot easier for us to bookmark because it takes up less space on your bookmark bar. So if I want to create a folder, if I want to bookmark a website, for example, I want this document. I would like this document to be bookmarked, which it's not bookmarked. And the way I know it's not bookmarked is this star is not obviously yellow. So what I could literally do is just click the star. It automatically bookmarks it. Now, because I have certain folders, I can select where that goes. So if I wanted to go in my Wilson folder, I could send it there. If I would like it to go to my Common Core folder, it may go there. If I don't want it to go anywhere in those folders, I can click the bookmark bar, hit done, and now this is my bookmark. 2 ways to work about this. If I want to change anything about the bookmark, I could simply right-click it and edit it. This allows me to shorten the document. So if I just want to say that this is called Chrome, I can just delete all of that information. The URL stays the same, so every time I open up a new tab, I can just come to the Chrome, the new bookmark that I made, click it, and it instantly goes to that URL that I synced it to. Now the URL doesn't have to pop up, and obviously the URL, which is showing up right down here, Docs, Google, etc., that takes up a lot of space, so we want to shorten that at all. Now let's say I want to take this and place it into a folder that I've created. I can do that one of 2 ways. I can either select this right from the star. So when I do bookmark it, I can select the folder it's going to go to and instantly put it into that. And when I hit done, it's now in this bottom folder down here. Or I can just hold and drag and place it wherever I want. So I can place it out here, I could reorganize it, etc. Now let's say I don't want that bookmark anymore. I can just unstar it, and remove it, and now it's gone. So that's walking through how to use that bookmark tool, how to make bookmarks nice and easy and quick to use, and they're very beneficial as just walking through what you commonly use in your own practice as a teacher. And they're really quick, easy ways to get there. So if I want to go to my Wells Fargo account, I could just go to my Wells Fargo bookmark. I'm instantly there. It's one click instead of typing in the wellsfargo.com. Next, I'm going to walk through how to, this is more content specific to me, what I use as a math teacher here at Wilson. One thing, an app that I completely love, and I have the kids using, is one that I have pinned down at the bottom, which is my GeoGebra app. This is one where I use very heavily with the accelerated students, and I'm working in other projects for the regular and on-pace students in 7th grade. So one project that we did using that GeoGebra app, and this was one that was shared with me by a couple of girls from this past year, was to actually create a picture using all equations and mathematically creating this. And this is what they created. I believe this is from a movie that they saw or whatever it was. But what they had to do was they had to place in at least 4 different figures, which one was a parabola, a circle, an absolute value equation, and a line in slope-intercept form. This is pretty much covering what we've done the entire year in Algebra 1. All their work on the left-hand side here is what they had to do to create this picture. And then we went into a little bit of coding in how do you limit anything with a function. And as I hover over this absolute value equation, which happens to be the top of this symbol right in here, we actually created the intervals and looked at the domains of that absolute value equation, because that equation would go on forever and ever and ever and ever. So this was a nice tool, an app that the kids could use online. They could save it at home, and they could edit it whenever they wanted. They just had to sign in and log into their Google account. So they just had to come up here, go to their settings, and sign in for it. And obviously, when they're signed in, they could save this wherever they would like. Another app or extension that I like to use is the Math Wolfram extension. So I'll open that one up. And this is a nice one. Just ways, if there's a term that comes up in something I do not know, Wolfram Alpha, this will define that term. So if I want to take a look at function, let's say I'm looking at that term and I have no idea what that means. This extension will allow me to search what is a function in relation to mathematics. What does that mean? So down here it gives me a whole definition of everything. And this is very useful when we do a project in our Algebra 1A class where the students have to research and figure out definitions of terms, mathematical terms, that they have seen in Algebra 1 Part A. And this would be one of them. What is a function? Well, it's a mathematical relation such that each element is given a set of the domain of that function and a range of that function. And a common one that was a big problem was range, where the kids had to differentiate between what is the range, as in, is it the y values of a function, or is it when we're talking central tendency, is it the maximum subtracted by the minimum? And this would be a good way for the kids to really differentiate that as they kind of define which one are we talking about. Is it the set of values of the dependent variable for which the function is defined? Is that talking about the maximum subtracted by the minimum? No, it's not. So that's not what they would be looking for as a range. So following that, now we're going to look at how do you actually use this as formative assessment? How can you use this to assess your students, their knowledge? And one way that I'm planning on using that in the upcoming years is to create pretty much review quizzes of the week, just quick 5-question quizzes in addition to their work. And this is just solely on their content-specific area. And the way that I'm potentially going to use this is to create a lot of Google Forms for the students to fill out, in which that can get sent back to me. So in my own Google Drive, I'll create my Google Form. I'll just select a random, it doesn't matter which theme I use, but we'll just title this as an equations review. So this will be a simple 5-question quiz for the kids to work on. And the nice thing about this is I can change the destination of where this is going to go. If I have a new spreadsheet that I want to do it per class, I can do so. Or if I want to create an old spreadsheet and have them as period 1, period 2, period 3, and just continue that with the same student per each one and just track their progress, I can do that as well. So I can change where that's going. I could have an existing one, etc. So all I have to do is create my equation. So for example, let's say this is my first question. Say I want them to solve the equation 3x minus 4 is equal to 15. And I'll have some text down here that tells them to solve for x. I can make this a multiple choice question, so obviously, not 15, equals 11. I could obviously make this x equals 5, which is the correct answer. I could add another one, option 2, I just click x equals 4. I can tab down to the next one. I could say x is equal to 7, or I could come over here and say x is equal to 3. And then that will give them 4 options that they would submit, and they can choose from any of them. And when I hit done, that is my equation, and that's what will pop up. Now obviously this will pop up in a different form for the students. This will follow the theme, so you're just seeing the back end view of this. And I can continue to add more questions, so I can add another one. If I want to, I could change this up and make this a paragraph answer, so they have to actually type in their response. So maybe I could have a question such as one where there is a student that they solved a problem, they solved it incorrectly, and down here they'll have to type in their answer and respond to me, and that I could grade to see and check to make sure that the students are working and understanding that if this was the original equation, and let's say they subtracted 4 instead of adding 4, that would be one where they could type in here, hey, Johnny should have added 4 instead of subtracting 4, which would have made it 0 for that negative 4 on that side. So that's using formative assessment. It's a quick way for the kids or it's a quick way for the teacher really to check for understanding, make sure that the students are working to their potential throughout the entire week. And the last thing I'm going to go over is just way to time manage, especially when you're working on certain problems. There are a lot of times when we do problem solvers in my own class, we give them about a couple minutes of think time. I've done this before using the Active Inspire software, the Promethean software, using the timer on there. But another one, a neat extension that I have, is a one-click timer. And this is one that's very, very simple, where I can just scroll down and say I want to have the students have 3 minutes of just private think time. So I scroll over to the 3 right here, click, and it instantly starts tracking that time. Let's say I want to stop it and I want to make sure that the students understand the question. I see a lot of misconceptions in class. I can just click this little guy right here and then I'll pause it for me. If I want to clear it, I just exit out, and now we're back to 0. And let's say I want to change it for, hey, we have 45 minutes, let's go. And the timer will work for me. I can speed it up if I want, and if I want to get rid of it, I can just clear it. So that's a way to just manage your time quickly in class if you want just a 1-minute warm-up, or if you have a warm-up and say, hey, we have 4 minutes for this warm-up, go. That'll help you manage your time so the kids know, okay, I need to get my stuff done. I need to start working immediately, yada, yada, yada. So I hope that was informative. I hope I did not bore you. I most likely did. But I'm hoping that that was something that you guys could use in the future, as well as this was informative in my own. This was great for me to brush up on these skills and use them for the upcoming years. So I hope you enjoyed.